This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Friday, the 4th day of August in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Education specialist in the Ministry of Education and former Chief Education Officer Dr. Olato Sam was shot dead early this morning while in the company of a group of friends at Plaisance Line Top on the east coast of Demerara. He was shot by a stray bullet. According to reports, gunshots were heard in the area, and moments later the senior education official was seen collapsing to the ground while clutching at his chest. He was shot to the chest. Some of his friends rushed him to the Georgetown Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. There are conflicting reports about the shooting incident. However, in a statement, the Guyana police force explained that two persons at the bar opposite where Mr. Sam was with his friends got into a fight, and it was during that fight across the road that someone whipped out a gun and fired shots. Sam was hit by one of those stray bullets. The police said two persons have since been arrested in connection with the investigations. News source understands that one of the persons in custody is an ex-policeman who was previously charged for murder and found not guilty. The police force would not provide details on the suspects. And in a statement this morning, the Minister of Education, Priya Manik Chand, while expressing condolences to the wife and family of Dr. Sam, noted his contributions to the education sector over the years. The Minister of Education said he was successful in program management while always remaining abreast of developments in the education sector and innovations within the sector. He served as Chief Education Officer between 2011 and 2016 and took on the new role as Education Specialist in 2020. He was also a lecturer at the University of Guyana and a member of the Teaching Service Commission, as well as a member of the Final Awards Committee of the Caribbean Examinations Council. Dr. Olato Sam also held a number of other key positions in the education sector across Guyana and the Caribbean. The Ministry of Education said that as education specialist, he was working on a number of projects and initiatives, with the most recent being a project to address violence in schools. The investigations into his shooting death are ongoing tonight. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Oh my lord! I just love to shop in this store. My customers, them gonna love all these things. So many different things in one place. Household items, electronics, toys, stationery, confectionery, exercise equipment, shoes and clothes for men, women and children, school things, costume, jewelry, perfume, makeup. Oh, look the makeup!
Giftland Office Max, Guyana's favorite department store.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that my crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
Are you looking for the best high school education at affordable fees? Then register your child today at the VYC Academy, now enrolling grades 7, 8, and 9 students for the 2023-2024 academic year. VYC Academy, achieving academic excellence. For more information, call us on 227-1013 or WhatsApp us at 613-4806.
Strong and solid in countries far and wide. New India Assurance, we're standing by your side. Golden service, half a century and more. New India Assurance, our policies are secure. From the heart of India, we serve these islands. The strength that you can trust, you're safe when you come to us.
New India Assurance Company. Assurance when you need it most.
For your home, motor or business insurance, visit New India Guyana office, 58 Brickdam next to Star Computers. Telephone 2260-415-7. Comfortable parking available.
Let's tell you now that the National Assembly passed the Electronic Communication and Transactions Bill late on Thursday night, with the opposition underscoring the importance of the legislation while expressing some concern relating to the process of authenticating signatures in digital transactions. The legislation is intended to fast-track the implementation of e-government services, while significantly improving the ease of doing business across both the public and private sectors in the country. The bill enables the conclusion of contracts and creation of certain rights and obligations through the electronic medium. In committing the bill to the National Assembly, Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce Anish Waldron said the bill sets the stage for the establishment of a legal framework that is key for commercial transactions in a modern world.
In the field of commerce, Mr. Speaker, this bill will deliver a framework with well-defined rules for the conduct of commercial transactions by electronic means. This framework will aid in delivering consistency and predictability in the business environment that is indispensable for the sustainability of trade and commerce.
The Commerce Minister also said similarly in the public sphere, the bill will provide the means by which transactions can be conducted with public authorities via electronic means.
This will also contribute to the improvement in the business environment. But equally important, it will lead to a radical improvement in the delivery of government services to individuals.
It was noted that the Electronic Communications and Transactions Bill forms part of a slew of legislation that is being put in place to modernize the means of doing business in Guyana as the country prepares for the digital economy. The Access to Information Act, the Interception of Communications Act, the Cybercrimes Act, and the Telecommunications Act are among the other pieces of legislation. APNU AFC Member of Parliament Cathy Hughes was the first on the opposite side of the House to acknowledge that the bill was a timely one.
Mr. Speaker, this bill that we are discussing today is timely, and I cannot overemphasize the importance of the subject matter that we're dealing with. Technology has expanded exponentially, and electronic digital transactions are the norm all over the world. The majority of citizens, businesses, multinational corporations, governments, the nation state, all come into contact with some form of electronic transactions every day nowadays.
However, while underscoring the importance of the legislation, the opposition MP registered a number of concerns, particularly with the process of authenticating the original signatures of persons in digital transactions. Clause 5 of the bill provides for the autonomy of the parties to use or accept electronic communications, electronic signatures, and electronic contracts. However, Mrs. Hughes expressed concern about the falsification of information.
Take, for example, a transport. The original is kept in the registry. We get a certified copy. This bill, and we accept, is necessary, gives the same recognition to the electronic form, and as I said, it's acceptable. But the electronic form can be forged, and therefore, a robust system or process to authenticate the original must be in place with an electronic or digital watermark maybe.
The legislation also empowers the Minister of Commerce to designate or establish an authority to be the certifying agency, which will be responsible for the regulation, registration, and accreditation of electronic security providers. But MP Hughes is of the view that the authority should be independent and not under the supervision of the minister. She told the House that a better document could be developed, were it to be sent to the Parliamentary Select Committee to address gaps in the legislation. The government, however, went ahead with the debate and used its majority in the House to pass the new legislation. Following revelations earlier this week by the Commissioner General of the Guyana Revenue Authority that the agency is running thin on auditors to probe the accounts of the oil companies, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo says he believes that the government may have to turn to outside help if the situation persists. During a press conference on Thursday, Mr. Jagdeo said while the preference is to have locals trained and work in the crucial departments, the government has acknowledged that there is labor mobility and people now have choices.
We're trying to use as many local people as possible. But if there's an absence of local people and we don't have the requisite skills, we have no alternative but to turn to the technical skills from abroad. But that's a crucial area of capacity building in the GRA that we have to work on, because that's a petroleum unit. We have a number of young people there, a number of technical people have been hired with degrees, and they've been doing a lot of training. So it's our preference to have local people, our own people work in these agencies, but if you don't have the skill, we'd have to go abroad.
The GRA has also complained about losing many of its staff members to the oil companies that are offering much higher salaries and greater benefits. The Vice President noted that the situation is not limited to the Revenue Authority only. He explained that the other government agencies are also losing staff to the private sector. And at the same time, some private sector employees are moving into the government positions. He said while the situation is unfortunate, it is one that also must be celebrated, where people feel they have alternatives and they're not confined to one job.
But if the GRA comes to us and say, we can't get X work done because we don't have this Y skill person, then we will deal with that immediately. But we don't want to do it on a blanket basis. They have to demonstrate a need and a very specific need.
Vice President Jagdeo said the government must be cautious about how it intends to fill those gaps in the Revenue Authority, noting that a situation can arise where government brings in people and those skills are available right here. He said the government will therefore work with the Guyana Revenue Authority to have the situation corrected. Hours after the leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton, accused the government of failing to do enough to bring ordinary Guyanese out of poverty and hardship amid those rising food prices, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo said Guyanese are benefiting now more than ever from the country's oil resources. At his press conference on Thursday, the Vice President said that aside from infrastructural development, more than 14,000 Guyanese have gained employment under the current government. He said many Guyanese are benefiting tremendously from a number of social and educational programs, including the Because You Care cash grant.
The school kids now have $8.4 billion more in this year's budget that they did not have in 2020. The pensioners increased by $13,000 from $20,000 to $33,000. When you calculate it, it's over $14 billion. So two categories getting 20-something, nearly $23 billion. 14,000 people getting part-time jobs who didn't have these jobs in 2020, nearly $10 billion. So if you calculate that, that's about $33 billion.
Jagdeo also said the employment cost for the public service has increased by $37 billion, explaining that under the APNU-AFC administration, the wage bill stood at $68.8 billion. However, it has now increased to $105.7 billion. Mr. Jagdeo added that the Irfan administration has set aside an additional $5 billion to ease the rising cost of living. But the opposition leader at a press conference held earlier on Thursday said the Stabroek News aptly captured the national sentiment of Guyanese in its editorial on the 2nd of August. Norton said though Guyana is raking in billions of dollars in oil revenue, ordinary Guyanese are still struggling to survive, much less live a prosperous life.
The ad hoc and inadequate measures by the PPP regime will not convert the small business sector into a pathway to prosperity for many Guyanese. A more cohesive and holistic approach is needed, starting with greater and easier access to grants and soft loans. But all of this is beyond the competence and vision of the PPP.
According to the opposition leader, no ordinary Guyanese can see a pathway to prosperity individually or for their families because there is no such pathway.
Our university and other graduates of tertiary institutions continue to migrate at the first opportunity. Attracting and retaining skills in a developing country such as ours are undoubtedly major challenges for many governments. While a government can do nothing about the strong pull factors that exist in the developed world, the PPP has exacerbated the push factors of the brain drain. They have failed to offer attractive salaries, benefits, and work conditions. They continue to politicize and deprofessionalize the workforce and to show open hostility towards the working class.
The opposition leader said under the current Pacific administration, Guyana will not join countries such as Kuwait and other oil-rich Gulf states, where public sector employment is a pathway to a decent and comfortable standard of living for their citizens. He said instead many Guyanese will continue to live below the poverty line or to be economically vulnerable as wages and salaries are still way below a livable income.
The GRA will commence the registration of electric motorcycles from July 4, 2023. Present your electric motorcycle and the following documents to complete the registration: completed motor vehicle application form, purchase receipt or affidavit of loss, purchase receipt, and a valid ID. These documents and your electric motorcycle should be presented to the Licensed Revenue Office at Lamaha Railway Embankment or any of the 8 integrated regional tax offices across the country. It costs $750 to register your electric motorcycle, and the revenue license fee ranges from $1,250 to $2,500 based on the weight of the electric motorcycle. You will be given a 3-month grace period to register your electric motorcycle from July 4, 2023. Remember, you must be the holder of a valid driver's license to drive an electric motorcycle on the roadways. GRA, your partner in development.
Your health, safety, and security are paramount. In 2023, $2 billion is being invested to expand the Safe Country initiative to regions 3 and 6 and is geared towards improving the detection of criminal activities with the use of ICT solutions. Funds earned from oil production are supporting initiatives such as these to bolster the crime-fighting efforts of the Guyana Police Force through the provision and installation of intelligent video surveillance sites.
We will always rally round our friends.
We home! The men in maroon are back in Guyana to battle India in 2 T20 international matches at the Guyana National Stadium. Catch the action in the cool, stylish fans T20 series, powered by Black and White, on August 6th and August 8th, bowling off at 10:30 a.m. Purchase tickets at windiescricket.com and receive 20% off box office prices. Tickets already discounted. Other conditions apply. West Indies versus India. Let's rally around our team. We home!
Rally, 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 rally round the West Indies.
Did you know that John Lewis Styles carries back-to-school items? Besides clothing and footwear, you can also get lunch bags from $3,500, backpacks from $4,500, and pulley backpacks from $10,995, all for the same price or less than buying online, and it's already here. Also, get a chance to win one RCA tablet every week in August. Enter to win with every $5,000 you spend. That's 4 tablets you can Google homework with. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Oh no, I ain't going nowhere. I love this place. Guyana. Oh no, welcome to Building Expo. Oh, yeah. Oh, and every country want friendship like the village on the east bank. want land.
The Vice President has announced that by next Wednesday, the President will appoint all of the persons to serve on the Commission of Inquiry that will examine the Mahdia school dorm fire which claimed the lives of 20 children. While not offering details on the likely commissioners, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo said the full commission will be named and will get down to work next week. Days after the deadly fire back in May, the president had promised to appoint a commission of inquiry to probe the circumstances which led to the disaster. The opposition has also been pressing the government to get the COI in place. Just last week, opposition leader Aubrey Norton said he believes the reluctance by the government to get the commission of inquiry started could be because of concerns within the government that several of its top officials could be called out in the probe. The issue was raised again in the National Assembly on Thursday by opposition member of parliament Amanza Walton Desir.
This is the same government that 70-something days later cannot convene a commission of inquiry to inquire into the fire that claimed the lives of 20 of our children. But you care? You care?
In addition to setting up the Commission of Inquiry, President Irfan Ali has also committed to offering support to the families of the victims, the injured, and the wider Region 8 community. Already, relatives of the children who died and those who were injured have signed on to settlement agreements with the government, removing liability from the government for any possible future action. The president has indicated that he intends to have retired Major General Joe Singh serve as the chairman of the Commission of Inquiry. The Guyana Police Force is stepping up its monitoring of motor lorries and sand trucks traversing the east bank of the Marara corridor in wake of a number of accidents and incidents involving those large trucks and growing complaints. This morning, the police conducted a traffic enforcement exercise at Friendship on the east bank of the Marara. A number of trucks were pulled over for checks. The police said they found 5 cases of tire maintenance issues, 4 cases of unlighted motor vehicle rear lights, 2 cases of unlighted motor vehicle front lights, 4 cases of faulty packing of load, and 6 breaches of condition of fitness. The police said a certificate of fitness for 10 of the trucks were revoked, thereby forcing the drivers to park the vehicles. Earlier this week, a senior police officer and his driver were badly injured when a speeding truck slammed into their vehicle. Last week, a truck transporting stone from Linden did not have the cargo properly covered, resulting in a spillage onto the roadway and causing a number of accidents. The Chetty Jacket International Airport has announced that it has processed more than 405,000 passengers so far for this year, 50,000 more than it did during the same period last year. In a statement, the airport said the figures represent an increase of 14%. Adding that the increased airlift was among factors influencing the increase in the number of passengers passing through the international airport. According to a statement from the airport, the increase in passenger numbers is due to the increased airlift by the existing carriers and the entrance of British Airways to the Guyana market. It is also predicting that passenger movements will increase even further when Skycon Airlines commence flight operations to Houston, Texas, and Canada. On the other hand, the airport said an additional 1.3 million kilograms of cargo were processed in 2023 so far when compared to the same period last year, representing an increase by 54%. According to the airport's management, the increase in cargo numbers is as a result of increased imports in oil field equipment and ship spares, while exports in agri-products increased exponentially.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
Sorry.
Jack?
Hey!
Boys, where you going with all that speed?
Yo, today's the 15th, my NIS contributions are due, and I ain't even get the forms as yet.
Hold on. You mean to tell me that you're not aware that all self-employed persons can now make their NIS contributions using the MMG app from the comforts of their homes and offices?
Really? You know, I just pay my bills using MMG, you know?
Yes, Jack, and the thing's simple. All you have to do is open the app, select Pay Bills, Government Services, NIS, and Pay. They will prompt you to enter your NIS number, the month you're paying for, and the amount.
So I don't need to submit any form?
No, the only time you submit in a form is when you're making a claim.
Wait, I could make a claim too?
Oh, no, man, Jack, you didn't know that? Yes, all self-employed persons are entitled to all benefits from NIS. Well, except for the industrial benefits. And here's the good part. All of their forms, you can download them from the NIS website.
Well, girl, I'm really glad I bumped into you.
Anyhow, make sure you pay your bills later.
Later? I gotta sit down right here and pay my contributions first.
Take care.
For further information, please visit the website at www.nis.org.gy, the National Insurance Scheme Facebook page, or your nearest NIS office.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor of the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Swatlana Marshall. In the region, the government of Grenada is moving to establish a National Security Council that will be tasked with formulating strategies and policies to safeguard citizens. Last night, the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell, said the Security Council will create and implement a comprehensive national security policy and strategy for Grenada that will underscore the country's security goals and priorities. He said that Cabinet had taken a significant step towards enhancing its approach to safety and national security by establishing a National Security Council steering committee comprising dedicated and skilled individuals from various sectors. Noting that in recent months, Grenada has seen an increase in violence, Mitchell said that while law enforcement may be paramount to promoting law and order, securing the safety of communities and the country requires an integrated approach. The Prime Minister said that given the importance of a collaborative approach to ensuring the collective safety and security of all Grenadians, in the coming weeks, a series of consultations will be held across the Tri-Island state to gather insight from citizens. The Turks and Caicos Islands recorded its 12th murder for 2023 on Wednesday when a man was gunned down in a brazen attack at Grace Bay in what police believe was linked to gang-related serious crime motivated by revenge and retribution. Commissioner of Police of the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force, RTCIPF, Trevor Botting, described Wednesday's shooting as shocking. Immediately after the incident in Grace Bay, the RTCIPF received reports of a group of armed men in the dockyard area, When police officers arrived at the area, they were subject to sustained gunfire from a group of men who were armed with automatic weapons. In order to protect themselves, the police officers also discharged their firearms. It is not known if any persons were injured as a result of the exchange. Due to the protection afforded to the armored vehicle, no police officers were injured in what the top cop described as a cowardly attack on law enforcement. And finally tonight, international news. Imprisoned Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has told supporters not to lose the will to resist after his jail term was extended to 19 years. Mr. Navalny was found guilty of funding an extremist organization. He denies the charges. He was already serving a 9-year term for parole violations, fraud, and contempt of court. The charges are widely viewed as politically motivated. The trial was held in a remote penal colony where he has been since 2021. The Kremlin's most vocal critic will serve his time in a special regime colony, which Russian state prosecutors had been calling for. Even more restrictive than a high-security colony, such prisons are normally reserved for dangerous criminals, reoffenders, and those with life imprisonment. There he is likely to face greater isolation, with further restrictions on communications with the outside world. He could also receive fewer visitors than he's used to, including his family and defense team, and may face longer periods of solitary confinement.
And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.